Hello,
Hi.
welcome to Purana Talk with Leon and Alan. We're the Purana guys. We read the Puranas every day.
Yep.
So here we are at Kanda 2 of the Garuda Purana, or the Dharma Kanda,
Or the Preta Kanda.
right? And we've been reading about ghosts, what causes them, how to get rid of them, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, and it continues with the second chapter of this volume, which happens to be chapter 22, that has been entitled On Attaining Ghosthood. Garuda said, "How do these ghosts come into being? How are they redeemed from Pretahood? What are their features? What is their diet, O Lord? How are the ghosts propitiated, O Lord of deities? Where do they stay? Please favor me, O Lord, with answers to these queries." The Lord said, "It is the men of sinful actions, actuated by their previous misdeeds, who become ghosts after death. Please listen to me. I shall tell you in detail." So their explanation of where ghosts come from is essentially that people do things during their lives that cause them to become ghosts.
Right.
He who desecrates wells, tanks, lakes, parks, temples, watersheds, groves of trees, almshouses, etc., and misdirects anyone in religious rites for monetary gain is a sinner. After death, he becomes a ghost and remains as such till the final deluge.
Now, do you see the irony here?
Gee, let me see. Do I see the irony here?
Yeah. Who is it that would get monetary gain for teaching people things that weren't quite right? It would be the priesthood, right?
Well, it I don't know if it would be the priesthood. It's the particular individuals who are doing it. To say that but it's a warning
Mm-hmm.
by priests to other priests, effectively, because this is the literature of the
priesthood,
Brahmin caste.
I just thought that was interesting.
It is interesting
because I've questioned that a few times, if you'll remember, in the last few chapters.
Well, it's a warning to its co-religionists. Don't misdirect people. Don't take money knowingly misleading people. Or you come back a ghost. 6. Out of greed, if people upset the boundaries of villages and destroy pasture lands, tanks, parks, underground drainage, etc., they become ghosts. Now, it's out of greed, specifically, so you can't, someone won't be condemned to be a ghost because he's a land developer who's moving things around. 7. Sinful persons, well, unless he's doing it out of greed. I guess most developers are greedy sons of bitches, so that doesn't really... Maybe it...
This is not a recent development.
Okay, 7. Sinful persons meet with death at the hands of chandalas, infuriated Brahmins, serpents, animals with curved teeth, or in watery graves, or struck by lightning.
So they're saying your manner of death reflects how you lived or something.
Yeah, but they're also saying that manner of death has something to do with whether you become a ghost, because they're putting them together.
Right.
And there you get a little closer to what I think Western ideas of ghosts are. Have something.
From my experience,
something to do with the way people died.
It's like people that die suddenly,
failure
to trying to do something desperately while they're dying, or there's a few things that cause it. But
and it's saying like it's it's bad news if you're if you're murdered by Chandalas, which is to say the lowest caste. It's also bad news if you're murdered by pissed off Brahmins, the upper caste.
Well, when is it good news to be murdered? It's like...
Yeah, but it leaves off all the, like middle people, that's like, I mean, you could get stabbed in a knife fight, or you could be, fighting with the neighbors over where the cows can drink water, and I don't know. There's all sorts of ways you can die, other than, I don't know. I'm just saying. I thought it was interesting that the lowest dying in the hands of either the lowest or the highest caste is especially indicative of a just desserts for sinful people, and you'll come back a ghost,
or being hit by lightning.
But also serpents, being killed by serpents, or animals with curved teeth.
Wild boar.
Or if you drowned or struck by lightning. Seem to be okay. 8 to 13. Those who meet with foul death, such as committing suicide by hanging from a tree, by poison or weapon, those who die of cholera, those who are burnt to death alive, those who die of, here we go. I mean, they're gonna make it so just about anything can result in you being a ghost here. So, pardon me, I digress. Those who die of foul and loathsome diseases, or at the hands of robbers, those who are not cremated duly after death, those who do not follow sacred rites and conduct, those who do not perform Vishotsarga and monthly Pinda rites, those who allow Shudras to bring sacrificial grass. Don't let the Shudras bring the sacrificial grass. Jesus, what's that? Twigs and other articles of Homa. Don't allow the Shudras to bring sacrificial grass, twigs, and other articles of Homa. Those who fall from mountains and die, those who die when walls collapse, those who are defiled by women in their menses, those who die in the firmament, and those who are forgetful of Vishnu. How do you die in the firmament unless you're killed in a plane crash? Well, they had planes back then, I forgot.
It can happen.
Those who continue to associate with persons die, get blown away, blown off a hill. Those who continue to associate with persons defiled due to births or death. Those who die of dog biting or meet with death in a foul manner become ghosts and roam over the earth. One who discards one's mother, sister, wife, daughter, or daughter-in-law without seeing any fault in them obtains ghosthood surely. In other words, if you cast them off without them having done anything to deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a big loophole. 15. One who deceives his own brother, kills a Brahmin or a cow, drinks liquor, defiles the preceptor's bed, steals gold and silk garments, becomes a ghost, O bird. It's like they're just tacking a few pet peeves in there, He's a drinker. One who usurps a deposit, deceives a friend, enjoys another man's wife, kills others' faith, is cruel, definitely becomes a ghost. If you kill someone's faith, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
17. One who discards the family customs, takes to other customs, is without knowledge and good character, definitely becomes a ghost. To illustrate this, there's an anecdote narrated by Bhisma to Yudhisthira. O you of good rights, I shall narrate this to you, on hearing which you may feel pleasure. You might get a kick out of this. Okay, so there are a couple footnotes. There's an anecdote narrated by Bhisma to Yudhisthira. Bhisma is the son of Shantanu, tells us, king of the lunar dynasty. His birth name was Devavrata. He was named Bhishma, a person of terrible vow, when he declared not to marry or assert his claim to the throne, which passed on consequently to his stepbrother, Vichitravirya. For details, see Puranic Encyclopedia under Bhisma. The second footnote is Yudhisthira, who is being told this story. Yudhisthira means firm in battle. We've encountered him before. At least in our readings, we've encountered him. Name of the eldest Pandava prince, and hence an important character in the story of the Mahabharata. Yudhisthira, firm in battle, name of the eldest Pandava prince, also named Dharma, Dharmaraja, Ajatashatru, son of Kunti and Pandu, and the grandson of Vichitravirya. He became the emperor of Hastinapur at the conclusion of the Great Bharata War after 18 days. Great Bharata, Mahabharata War, after 18 days severe fighting. So, yes, King of Hastinapur. I have been to Hastinapur. It's a giant pilgrimage place. And it's the place that had that sort of cosmological theme park with Mount Meru.
Oh, right.
It was...
those are very interesting.
It was very interesting. I haven't seen another one quite like it.
Well,
it wasn't in the best condition.
That book we found that talked about
interesting.
That showed pictures of them, had some that were kind of similar.
Oh, well, it was, yeah. Well, it was a theme
cosmology.
Theme park, yeah, but it was a theme park built on the cosmology. That was the interesting thing. You could walk around, you could take boats in the oceans that circled Mount Meru was in the center. You could climb to the top of Mount Meru and like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, I digress. Yudhisthira said, this is the anecdote. "Oh, grandfather, please tell me what those evil deeds are, as a result of which one becomes a ghost, and what are the means of redemption from the same, on hearing which I shall not be deluded thus further." Bhisma said, the elder here, "I shall tell you entirely what those causes are, whereby one turns a ghost, and how he is set free after falling into a dismal hell impassable even to gods. I shall tell all these things, on hearing which a person is set free from ghosthood." Oh, so knowing sets you free in this case, huh? If you tell somebody how you become a ghost, presumably they just know to avoid doing those things. 22. Oh dear, there was a Brahmin of rigorous sacred rites named Santaptaka. For practicing penance, he went to a forest. He was a man of kind, compassionate nature. He used to perform homas and yogic practices, as well as great sacrifices. He used to spend time usefully engaged. He strictly observed celibacy. He observed penances. He was soft-hearted, truthful, and pure. He was afraid of the other world. He strictly followed the instructions of his preceptor. He was delighted in serving guests. He observed yogic practices. He was free from dvandvas, contradictions, shall we say. Practicing yoga incessantly to conquer mundane existence, he subjugated the sense organs, following the path of good conduct. He eagerly desired salvation. He spent years in the secluded forest. Then the idea of visiting holy centers entered his mind. He thought within himself, "I shall keep immersed my body in the waters of a holy river till I die." Accordingly, he hastened to a holy center, where he took bath at sunrise. He performed the rites of japa and namaskara and started on journey. One day, this Brahmin of great penance lost his way and reached a forest full of thorny shrubs, secluded and devoid of big trees. While he was hurrying up, he saw 5 terrible ghosts. On seeing these 5 awful ghosts of deformed features, he was terrified, and he closed his eyes in sheer fright. Then he cast off his fear and became bold enough to ask in sweet words, "O sires, how is it that you are so deformed? What was the sin committed by you? Wherefore have you attained this deformity? Where are you proceeding in company?" The Lord of the Ghosts said, "O excellent Brahmin, our ghosthood is the outcome of our own misdeeds. We had been engaged in harassing others. Hence we became victims of foul death. In this state of our ghosthood, we are oppressed with hunger and thirst. We are unable to speak. We have lost our mental equilibrium. We have lost consciousness, too. We are pishachas, born of our own misdeeds. We do not know the difference between one quarter and another. We are extremely distressed. We do not know where we go. We have neither fathers nor mothers. This ghosthood is due to our own misdeeds. We are extremely dejected and sorrowful because the attack is all too sudden. O Brahman, we're delighted on seeing you. We feel refreshed. Please wait a little. I shall narrate everything from the very beginning. Keeps going into this narration a little further,
Mm-hmm.
My name is Paryushita, or actually more like Paryushita. 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 This ghost is known as Suchimukha. Suchimukha. Suchi mouth. Suchi. What's Suchi? The other one is Shgraha. Shgrag. Shigraga. 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 That's a hard one to say. Shigraga. Shigraga. And the others are all Rohita, and the others are Rohita and Lekaka. Lekaka has a similar structure. See, it's the aspirated and then the unaspirated short vowel. Where the first one is ga, ga. This is ka, ka. These are our names and we are ghosts. The Brahmin said, how can ghosts, the outcome of evil actions, have names? You may have some purpose in view in having these names. Please tell me. The Preta Raja said, king of the Pretas, or ghosts, O excellent Brahmin, while I myself took all sweet things, I left stale things for Brahmins to eat. While I was on earth as a man, I showed the hungry Brahmins the exit door. Hence my name is Paryushita. O excellent Brahmin, whenever a Brahmin begged him for food out of hunger, this ghost used to run away. Hence he is called Shigraga. This other one irritated many Brahmins with sharp tongue, and when they came to him for food. Hence he is called Suchimukha. In his life on earth, the ghost ate sumptuously in isolation the foodstuffs offered to gods and mains in the absence of Brahmins. Hence he is known as Rohaka. Up here it was Rohita. Rohaka. Unless it's a different one, but I think it might be the same. Whenever a needy person requested him for something, the ghost pretended to be silent and went on scratching on the ground. As a result of this, he is known as Lekaka. And Leka, I think, is like a line, like a scratched line in the ground, Leka, with the pen. So we're at 46. Thus, acquiring our ghosthood and names from our misdeeds, we have got ourselves deformed too. This Lekaka is goat-mouthed. Rohaka is mountain-faced. Shigraga is cow-faced. Suchimukha is needle-mouthed. I, Paryushita, am crane-necked. Suchimukha, that might be what it means, that needle-mouth. Suchi. Suchi. Sui is needle in modern Hindi. Sui, Suchi, not too far off. 48, 49. Taking this illusory form, we wander over this wide region. We suffer from terrible distress. O Brahman, you can judge from our deformed faces with protruding lips and twisted shape. Our teeth are long, our bodies huge, our faces crooked due to our misdeeds. Thus I have told you how we turned ghosts. Now that reminds me of the mask that I brought back from Orissa that was Odisha. Odisha? They changed the name. Remember the Crooked King?
Mm-hmm.
and his face was deformed because of his misdeeds. It's the same kind of idea. 50. We have become somewhat wise on seeing you. If you wish to hear more, you can ask us further, whatever you'd like to know. The Brahmin said, the creatures on this earth subsist on food. I wish to know precisely what you all eat for your subsistence. The ghost said, if you are inclined to hear what we eat, O noble sir, listen attentively. The Brahmin said, O king of ghosts, please tell me what you eat. Thus requested, the ghosts began to explain their diet, respectively. So this is one to note for my the great book of Indian food. Food in myth and history and stuff, culture. The ghost said, O Brahmin, our diet is extremely loathsome, despised by all living beings. On hearing it from us, you are sure to hate us. It is so despicable. Mucus, secretions, feces, and urine, together with other exudations, filth, as well as leavings of food, constitute our diet. We eat, drink, and revel in the house where people do not pay attention to cleanliness and where they scatter litter carelessly. We haunt unclean beings as well. We reside and enjoy in the house where there is no purity, and where people do not observe truthfulness and restraint, and where outcasts, robbers, etc. join together and take meals. We take delight in haunting the house where no mantras are recited, where no oblation is offered, where no homa is performed, and where people do not read the Vedas regularly nor perform religious rites. In the interest of completeness, I will read you what it footnotes Vedas, because it figures at this point it needs to tell you what that is, since you just got here from Mars. 1. Vedas. Originally there were only 3 Vedas, Rig, Yajus, and Saman, collectively called Trayi, the sacred triad, but a 4th, the Atharva Veda, was subsequently added to them. Each of the Vedas has 2 parts, the mantra and the Brahmana. According to the orthodox faith of the Hindus, the Vedas are not human composition, being directly revealed by the supreme being Brahman. They are called Shruti, what is heard or revealed, as distinguished from Smriti, what is remembered or is the work of human origin. Succinct. Confirms what I've often said just from translating the word Shruti and Smriti. You know, things that are heard, and things revealed, and things that are remembered. Mm-hmm. Now, it seems that once they're heard, they're remembered thereafter, right?
Yeah. No, but I think what they're talking about
in its origin.
You know, you might have a direct experience with a god in a vision or something like that, and that's a different thing than something you make up. Compose.
Or something that you're handing down and you don't really know where it came.
Right, or where it came from.
Folk wisdom and stuff. But it's emphasizing that ghosts don't tend to hang out in houses where the religious observances are regularly observed.
Right.
They prefer those houses that are a little lax in that respect. Right. 59. We hover around the house where gods are not honored, where the householder is a vile wretch without shame and decency, and where the poor husband is controlled by his sturdy wife. We enjoy gaiety in the house, where covetousness, fury, somnolence, sorrow, fear, haughtiness, lethargy, quarrels, and deception reign supreme. We lick up the urine mixed with semen from the vaginal passage of the widow having illicit intercourse with her paramour. Dear friend, I am ashamed to tell you about the food we take, O pious Brahmin. We lick up the menstrual blood from the generative organ of a woman. O noble Brahmin, preferring penance to riches and engaged in performing the sacred rites, I ask you, out of frustration, please tell me the means of warding off ghosthood It is better to die 100 times than turn a ghost. The Brahmin said, a person who is assiduously engaged in fasts such as Krichra, Chandrayana, is never born as a ghost. Now it's going to footnote those. They've been mentioned in the previous volume, but Krichra, as expiatory rites, various kinds of Krichras, mortifications of the body, it says. Now that's the first time I've seen it translated that. Are enumerated by Manu, citing specifically 211 through 216. So book or chapter and verse there. They are Krichra Santapana, Ati Krichra, Tapta Krichra, and Paraka Krichra. And with reference to Chandrayana, footnote 3, a religious observance or an expiatory rite regulated by the moon's age. Parenthetically, the period of its waxing and waning. So it's a regular lunar ritual, and in which the daily quantity of food consisting of 15 mouthfuls at the full moon is diminished by 1 mouthful every day during the dark fortnight till it is reduced to 0 at the new moon, and is increased in like manner during the bright fortnight.
So this is a vrat.
It is a vrat of sorts, yes.
A religious fast.
It's a month-long fasting ritual in which you start out eating a little and eating less and less and less until you're at 0, and then you gradually increase it again until you finish the vrat. So it's 15 mouthfuls is not many.
No, you'd be skinny after doing this for a while.
Yep. Well, it's only a month long. It's a very determined period, but yeah.
So it's a specific month of the year.
It doesn't tell us that. It says
so you might just do it continually.
No, it explains that. Well, no, I don't think you do that continually. You do it once. Pick a good month.
Yeah, an easy month. Anyway.
He who observes fast, keeps awake at night, and is purified by meritorious deeds is never born as a ghost. He who performs Ashvamedha and other sacrifices, makes liberal gifts and builds monasteries, parks, drinking water sheds, and cow pens, is never born as a ghost. And the Ashvamedha is the horse sacrifices, it's called. He who helps Brahmins to give their virgin daughters in marriage according to his capacity, he who enables students to study, and he who accords shelter and refuge to the needy is never born as a ghost. If a man takes food offered by a fallen man and dies with that food undigested in his stomach, he is supposed to have courted a foul death, and hence he becomes a ghost. If a priest officiates at the sacrifice of an unworthy person and neglects that of a worthy sacrificer, if a man lives in the company of despicable people, he becomes a ghost. He who associates with drunkards or indulges in intercourse with a woman addicted to wine or eats meat unconsciously becomes a ghost. He who misappropriates a Brahmin's wealth or the property of the temple or that of his preceptor, and he who takes money from his son-in-law before giving his daughter in marriage becomes a ghost. He who forsakes his innocent and guiltless mother, sister, wife, daughter, wife, daughter, or daughter-in-law becomes a ghost. So it's covering the same ground again here, and I suspect it's one of these instances like we talked about frequently that the texts seem to repeat themselves because they're probably coming from different sources and getting patchworked into the Purana.
But at 68, see, he was telling us no ghost until 67, and in 68 it changed. It started telling us will become a ghost again.
Yes. Yeah.
And
through 67 it was telling you, you know, you won't be a ghost if you do this, and then But if you do this, you will. Thereafter, so far. All these are sure to be born as ghosts. A man misappropriating a trust fund, a man treacherous to his friend, a man fond of another man's wife, a faithless man, and a deceptive wretch, a man hating his brother, a murderer of a Brahmin, a slayer of a cow, a wine addict, a defiler of the preceptor's bed, one who cast off customary rites, or one who is fond of telling lies, a stealer of gold, and one who takes possession of plots of land illegally. All these are born as ghosts.
So these are mostly to point out that you don't get away with anything. That if you get away with something in life, when you die, you pay for it. And this is largely to keep people from doing unethical things that can be influenced by such.
It's the answer to their question, why shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Well,
because
you'll be born as a ghost. Bhisma said, when the Brahmin spoke thus, the beating of drums was heard in the sky. The gods showered flowers over the Brahmin. 5 celestial chariots arrived there and took the ghosts away, the ghosts having taken leave of the saintly Brahmin. The ghosts were relieved of their sins after the pious speech of that Brahmin. They all achieved the highest region. On hearing this anecdote, the Lord of Birds quaked like the Ashvatha tree. He asked the Lord again for the benefit of human beings. And we'll find out in chapter 23 just what he asked.
Well, very interesting. The fact that just being in the presence of this Brahman, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And
answering his questions and
him dialoguing with the ghost about what caused ghosthood and everything. That was enough to relieve them. And
you win
and they got the golden.
What was it on the Groucho Marx show? The duck would drop down.
The rubber duck.
It wasn't rubber, was it? No. Well, it was a duck that sort of looked like Groucho with a cigar in its mouth.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's like, because you said the right thing, the magic words, and only this time it was 5 chariots. They each had a chariot.
Well, they pointed out early in this dialogue that not everybody could see them. Like that.
Yeah, well, I thought
people
it
didn't see them.
I thought it would.
Most people couldn't communicate with them.
Yeah, well, the part that struck me funny was early on in the discourse they explained that they couldn't speak.
Right, but then they
were very articulate.
Even to the point of being able to tell their names and what their names meant and why they looked the way they did and everything. So, but this is, if you look at it from the ghost hunter's perspective, this is often the case with me. I can hear them and see them and dialogue with them, and
it was right at the beginning.
Most people can't.
The second stanza after the ghost begins speaking, it says,
they feel uncomfortable there where they're there, but they don't really have conversation with them.
Yeah, in this state of our ghosthood, we're oppressed with hunger and thirst. We are unable to speak.
Right. And yet they're able to tell him that.
We've lost our mental equilibrium. We've lost consciousness, too.
Right. And yet they're there enough they can talk, and they can tell you what's going on. So
the representative voice of this disturbed spirit energy, I guess, this is what it would tell you.
Right.
And in wooding, it got liberated somehow. Some little part of ghosthood in the embodiment of these 5 delirious entities.
Whose delirium was very specific to what they had done.
And they could be depicted. They look interesting. I mean, you've got crane-necked one, and you've got a needle-faced,
Yeah, very interesting.
With huge bodies.
I also thought it was interesting that they said that, sort of detritus, letting things build up, not cleaning things out, attracted ghosts.
Yeah, well, it talks about, they like living in places that were
sort of derelict,
not orderly, and where people were living a kind of slovenly, like not maintaining standards, where standards were not maintained.
Right.
Yeah, essentially. which would be all kinds.
But also where the
Spiritual.
rituals were being done. 'Cause
Yeah,
if
well,
you did rituals and you
the standards
had that
would
happening,
include everything.
It didn't work or something, you know.
If you're really doing all your rituals, you're keeping
cleaning
house,
too.
you're doing everything.
Yeah.
It's all enjoying to do those things. Okay.
Very good.
Thanks.
Interesting.